Welcome to English, Please, the podcast where we explore captivating topics in under 10 minutes in clear, intermediate English. I'm your host, Christopher. I live and work in New York City, and I'm a language enthusiast who has always been interested in the best ways to learn a new language. Thank you for joining me for another episode designed to help you improve your English listening skills and vocabulary. I want to start this episode by saying congratulations on reaching the intermediate level in your English learning journey. Sometimes when learning a new language, we focus so much on improving that we forget how much we already know. I've been creating these episodes to help you on your journey, but you should know that getting to a place where you can understand the majority of the content in the English Please episodes is a big accomplishment. And since you can understand so much English, you can also access a wide range of other helpful resources as well. As a learner of languages myself for most of my life, I want to share some powerful tips to help you take your English skills to the next level. Because there are quite a few tips that I think are useful, I'm going to split them over 2 episodes in order to keep things short. I hope these help you. So let's begin with part 1. Tip 1. Read. Reading is a key part of language learning, and at the intermediate level, reading becomes even more enjoyable and enriching. Step outside of your comfort zone and explore different writing styles. We all have preferences for what we like to read. The good news is it's very easy to access anything that interests you. First, we have nonfiction. You can find informative nonfiction articles online on any subject you can imagine, and nonfiction is generally written without slang or idioms, making it easier to understand, especially if the subject already interests you. Books are great too, but they take longer to finish, of course. I find that I get a true sense of accomplishment when I finish reading something shorter, and that keeps me motivated. That said, there are short books, and I encourage you to find what interests you. Next is fiction. If you like to read fiction, there are many levels, subjects, and styles of writing. Sometimes choosing the right thing to read can be daunting, because it can be difficult to determine how easy or how hard it will be. In addition, fiction frequently contains slang, regional words, a mix of dialogue and descriptions, etc. One trick before starting a fiction work in English is to open to a random page, or if it's online, pick a random section, and read a paragraph. If you know all of the words, it's too easy. If there are 2 to 4 words that you don't know, it's probably at a perfect level for you. More than 5 unfamiliar words? You'll likely feel frustrated, and that won't keep you motivated to continue reading. It's probably best to pick something else. This method isn't scientific, but I've found it very useful. In general, something published more recently will contain less outdated or old-fashioned words or phrases that aren't often used nowadays. And as with nonfiction, I also recommend choosing shorter works. Plays can be great to read since there's less descriptive content. Instead, dialogue moves the story. You'll develop an ear for the way people speak English, and plays are generally shorter than novels. Next is news and current events. In your daily life, make it a habit to stay updated by reading about current events through English language news websites. You can also discover interesting perspectives on blogs. It's likely you follow at least some of the stories happening in your community, country, or around the world. Why not read these stories in English? Finally, we have the dictionary. The dictionary. Yes, there's an easy way to add reading in English with almost no extra effort. When you encounter a word or topic in your native language that you don't understand, and this happens all the time to everyone, instead of searching online or in a printed dictionary in your native language to find out more, do the search in English. You should do this even if it's a definition of an unfamiliar word in your native language. We all encounter those. Translate the word into English and then try to understand it. If that's not enough, read the definition of the word in English. It's a small way to improve your vocabulary, and it won't take much time. Reading in all of these ways will expose you to unique vocabulary and sentence structures, broadening your understanding of how English is used in real-world contexts. You'll quickly get a lot of exposure to English. Tip 2. Listen. Take advantage of the power of listening. Listen to podcasts on topics that interest you, allowing yourself to get accustomed to different accents and speaking styles. The key thing here is to choose subjects that you already enjoy or want to learn about. Tune into English news channels or websites to listen to more formal language and vocabulary that is associated with what's happening in the world. Listening to this spoken audio is great because it will have less slang or technical words, and you'll quickly learn common words that you might not hear in casual audio. As you listen to content, focus on pronunciation and the overall content of the conversation or presentation. Try repeating words and phrases as you hear them. Another great way to hear English is by watching English language movies and shows. Pay close attention not just to the plot, but also to how the characters speak. Since you're already at the intermediate level of English, I recommend watching a scene without subtitles and trying to understand as much as possible. After that, if you need to, go back and watch the scene again with English subtitles. This will help you understand most of the content without ever having to rely on your native language. If you are confused by a word or phrase, and this happens, look it up in English so you can understand it. If you don't know some words, just try to comprehend what's happening. This takes time, but you'll notice quickly it becomes easier the more you do it. And speaking of watching a movie or series, another tip is to watch something that you've already watched in your native language. But this time, switch the audio to English. Skip the subtitles and see if you can understand what's being said. I have done this many times. The main thing here is to choose something you enjoyed the first time, of course. Tip 3. Write. I've talked about reading and listening, but writing regularly is another powerful way to improve your English comprehension and solidify your learning. But what do you write? Keep a journal in English and write down your daily experiences, thoughts, or feelings. You don't have to write much. Briefly describe your commute to work or school, your interactions with people, or something your pet did. Anything. Write about your vacation, summarize a movie you watched. It really doesn't matter. If you make writing in a journal a regular, daily activity, you'll get better and better at organizing your thoughts in English, exploring different writing styles, and improving your vocabulary. In addition, writing like this will help you to think in English, and this absolutely will improve your English conversations too. Try to write in the journal at the same time each day so that it becomes a habit. Another writing tip is to keep a small notebook separate from your journal. Keep this little notebook in a bag or backpack or even a pocket and carry it with you as often as possible. Write in this notebook words that you learn along with their definitions. And whenever you have a few minutes, read through the words in your book. As the number of pages grows, and this will happen fairly quickly, you'll have more and more to read. But I promise you, you will begin to learn the words and you'll begin to use them. I advise you to try adding words that are useful here. You don't need to add every single word you encounter. Sure, we want to know every word we can, but in reality, it's best to stay focused. I try to avoid adding very uncommon, specialized, or technical words that I know I'll never use in conversation or read in an article or book. For example, I'm not an auto mechanic, so I don't need the words for very specific parts of a car's engine. So, I don't write that kind of vocabulary in my book. Tip 4. Be comfortable with ambiguity. Okay, this is a huge one. Possibly the most helpful thing I've learned during my lifetime of studying languages is to be comfortable with ambiguity, with a little uncertainty, with things not always being 100% clear. Whether you're reading a book, watching a series, or listening to a podcast, there will be times when you won't understand every single word. And that's okay. The goal in communication is to be able to understand the meaning. If there's a word or two, or more, that you don't know or that you can't understand, but you are able to comprehend what is happening or what is being said, then that's enough. That's exactly what you're trying to do as you improve your English. And remember, getting to the intermediate level in English is amazing. Understanding most of the content in this episode is incredible. Don't forget how much you already know as you continue to improve. I'll have a few more tips in the next episode of English Please, but start to use the tips here right now. They really will help you move past the intermediate level. You can find a link to the transcript of this episode in the episode notes, in case you want to see the tips in a PDF. I also recommend listening again with the transcript to help with anything that wasn't clear. Again, I'm Christopher, and I want to invite you to join me in future episodes of English Please to hear about a variety of topics, all focused on helping you with your English. Subscribe now wherever you listen to podcasts, and let's embark on an adventure together in clear, understandable English. I also encourage you to visit comullen.com/pod for more information. Thanks for listening. See you soon.